You probably don't remember what you had for breakfast 3 days ago. Most people don't. But what if that kind of forgetfulness isn't as harmless as it seems? Imagine waking up one morning and realizing your brain has started to fade. Not dramatically, not overnight, but quietly, year after year. That's how Alzheimer's begins for millions of people. Not with a loud crash, but with a whisper. And what if I told you that 2 everyday foods, when eaten together, could protect your memory and even help rebuild the very brain connections time tries to erase? I first learned about this from a retired neurologist in Sweden, a man in his 70s who still skied every winter and remembered every patient he'd ever treated. When I asked him how his memory stayed so sharp, he smiled and said, "It's not magic, it's breakfast." He wasn't joking. He was referring to the combination of fatty fish and dark leafy greens, salmon and spinach, sardines and kale, mackerel and collard greens. It sounded simple, but as I dug into the science, it made perfect sense. Your brain is mostly fat, roughly 60% of it, and the gray matter that processes memory depends heavily on omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA. As we age, DHA levels drop. Neurons dry out like an old sponge, and signals slow down. Eating fatty fish 2 or 3 times a week helps keep those brain membranes flexible. But that's only half the story. Omega-3s alone are like bricks without mortar. The mortar, the compound that binds and activates those fats, comes from the antioxidants and B vitamins found in dark greens. These nutrients help clear out the sticky plaques that lead to Alzheimer's and regenerate the mitochondria inside brain cells. In 2018, researchers at Rush University in Chicago followed more than 900 older adults for 5 years. Those who followed what's now known as the MIND diet, essentially the Mediterranean diet enhanced with green vegetables and fish, had a 53% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's. But what fascinated scientists wasn't just the diet itself, it was the synergy. People who ate fish without greens saw some benefit. People who ate greens without fish saw some benefit. But those who combined both consistently had dramatically better memory retention and cognitive resilience. It's a partnership nature designed long before we understood biochemistry. Omega-3s reducing inflammation, antioxidants cleaning the neural pathways, vitamins supporting energy metabolism. When you combine salmon and spinach in one meal, your body doesn't just digest nutrients separately. DHA from the fish integrates into neuronal membranes, while folate, lutein, and vitamin K from the greens repair and protect them from oxidation. This biochemical teamwork is what allows synapses, the communication bridges between brain cells, to stay alive and active even past the age of 60. I've seen this firsthand with my own patients. One woman, a retired teacher in her 60s, came to me worried about forgetting names and misplacing keys. We didn't go for pills or supplements right away. Instead, I had her start eating grilled sardines twice a week with a side of kale sautéed in olive oil and garlic. Within months, her memory tests improved by nearly 30%. She laughed and said, "I feel like my brain is waking up." The truth is, it was. The most surprising part is how quickly the brain can respond when given the right fuel. The hippocampus, the part of the brain that stores new memories, actually starts forming new connections within weeks. Blood flow improves, the fog lifts. And no, this isn't about some superfood fad. It's about synergy. Foods that were always meant to be eaten together. We often talk about aging as if it's a slow decline we can't control. But the truth is, your brain is like a garden. What you plant, water, and nourish will continue to grow. And that garden depends on balance, not just in nutrients, but in lifestyle, in how you rest, move, and connect. So the next time you sit down for dinner, picture this: a simple plate of salmon, a handful of dark greens, maybe a drizzle of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. It doesn't look like medicine, but it is, because food is not just calories. It's communication, it's chemistry, it's memory. And that's just the beginning. In the next part, we'll explore the exact ratios, timing, and surprising add-ons that make this food combo even more powerful, including a spice that acts like a natural shield against brain aging. If you found this helpful, leave a comment below and tell me your age and what memory challenges you've noticed. Hit that like button if you believe in taking your brain health into your own hands, and subscribe, because the next video might just change how you think about aging forever. When we talk about memory decline, most people imagine it as something that simply happens with age, a slow fade that no one can stop. But the truth, revealed in study after study, is that the process is deeply influenced by what you eat, how you rest, and how you move. The food combo of fatty fish and dark leafy greens works because it speaks the same language as your brain: chemistry. Let's take a look at what's really happening beneath the surface. Every time you think, remember, or learn, billions of tiny electrical sparks travel through your neurons. These sparks need a clean pathway, insulated, flexible, and well-fed. The omega-3 fatty acid DHA from salmon, sardines, or mackerel forms that insulation, strengthening the outer membrane of your brain cells. Without enough DHA, these membranes become brittle, signals leak, and memory fades. But when you add leafy greens like kale, spinach, or Swiss chard, you're supplying folate, vitamin K, and antioxidants such as lutein and beta-carotene, which repair and protect those same membranes from oxidation and inflammation. This is where the timing matters. The brain absorbs DHA best when eaten with other fat-soluble nutrients. That's why it's ideal to eat your fish and greens together in one meal, especially with a small amount of olive oil or avocado. The healthy fats act as a carrier, pulling both omega-3s and antioxidants directly into your bloodstream. In clinical nutrition, we call this bioavailability, and it can make the difference between food that merely fills you and food that heals you. There's another hidden factor few people talk about: curcumin, the active compound in turmeric. When combined with omega-3s and leafy greens, curcumin acts like a biological switch that turns on genes responsible for clearing amyloid plaques, the sticky protein clumps that choke neurons in Alzheimer's patients. In one UCLA study, adults who consumed curcumin daily had significantly improved memory and attention after just 18 months. So, if you drizzle a little turmeric-infused olive oil on your salmon and greens, you're not just seasoning your meal, you're programming your brain to stay younger. Equally important is timing. Your brain performs repair work mostly at night, during deep sleep, which means eating your omega-3 rich meals earlier in the evening can provide the raw materials your brain needs before that restorative phase begins. Think of it like fueling a workshop before the workers arrive. On the other hand, skipping breakfast or relying on processed foods high in sugar and trans fats floods the brain with inflammation, which blocks the natural repair cycle. I once worked with a 67-year-old engineer named Mark. He was sharp, but he noticed increasing mental fog and trouble recalling names during meetings. Instead of giving him supplements, I asked him to try a 6-week nutrition protocol. 2 main meals a week featuring wild salmon and spinach, plus daily turmeric tea. He also swapped refined carbs for whole grains and walked 30 minutes every morning. By week 4, he reported sleeping better, his focus returning, and even his mood improving. His cognitive test scores confirmed it. Reaction times faster, memory recall higher. What's fascinating is that Mark's blood markers for inflammation and triglycerides also dropped, proving how tightly the brain and body are connected. This brings us to the bigger picture, the mind-body connection. Memory loss isn't just a brain issue, it's a whole body issue, driven by inflammation, poor circulation, and hormonal imbalance. Exercise plays its role by pumping oxygen and nutrients into the brain. A brisk 20-minute walk after your meal helps insulin levels stabilize, improving nutrient delivery to neurons. And stress reduction, whether through mindfulness, prayer, or quiet time, lowers cortisol, the hormone that literally shrinks memory centers when left unchecked. The truth is, the fight against Alzheimer's doesn't begin in hospitals or laboratories. It begins in your kitchen, with choices made 3 times a day. Every bite you take can either feed inflammation or fight it, either dull your mind or sharpen it. The combination of fatty fish and leafy greens isn't a miracle. It's a message from nature that the simplest foods can have the most profound effects when used wisely. If you're over 60, it's never too late to start. The brain is remarkably adaptable. It grows new connections even in later years when given the right environment. So don't think of aging as decline. Think of it as an opportunity, a second chance to build a stronger, clearer, calmer version of yourself. Next time you cook, try this. Pan-seared salmon, a side of sautéed spinach with garlic and olive oil, and a sprinkle of turmeric and black pepper. Sit down, eat slowly, and remind yourself, this isn't just dinner. This is your daily investment in memory, identity, and independence. Because keeping your brain alive isn't about living forever. It's about staying yourself for as long as life allows. If this message resonates with you, drop a comment below and tell me one food or habit you're changing starting today. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone over 50 who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because every week we uncover one more simple way to stay sharp, strong, and ageless.